I welcome you all to our webinar on earned value management. We will discuss primarily three topics. First, we will go through earned value management concepts. Then we will get into the performance measurement, where we will talk about like schedule variance, cost variance, and cost performance index and schedule performance index. And at the end, the third segment would be covering the forecasting element of EVM. I'm Saket Bansal. I run a company named iZenBridge Consultancy Private Limited. We help people in doing project management certification. It's not like that we are a certification company. We try to evangelize project management in community. Before I start, I need to know a little bit about you, and I'm using one poll to know my audience. And in this poll, the question is to know where do you stand in your PMP certification journey. So let me call the poll and we see. So there are few options where we can select out of. You can tell if you are already certified PMP. You can also share if you are not interested in PMP, and if somebody is going to give the exam in a very near future, he can select the option, or she can select the option where they are thinking of giving the exam in 30 calendar days. So as of now, 50% of us have not voted. So please select your option, whatever you feel is right for you. Okay, so I am closing it and I am sharing with all of you. And you may realize that we have majority of the participants who are thinking about or who have started exploring or who are preparing for PMP, and the second majority is the PMP certified professionals, so which is good. So we have kind of an advanced audience. Us are aware about what this PMP and PMP content is all about. Let's move forward. So as I said, whenever you have a query, please use the chat box come question box which is there in your GoToWebinar panel, and I will take them along the session. Now, first section talks about EVM concept. What is this earned value is all about? Earned value, actual cost, planned value, budget at completion, such kind of terms will get discussed in this particular section. Now, PMBOK defines earned value management system as a methodology that combines scope, schedule, and resource management to assess project performance and progress. A lot of time we think that EVM has something to do with cost. It is not absolutely true, because EVM management cannot be done till the time we take other dimensions of the project like scope, schedule, resource in account. So in this session, we will see how these things get combined. The other point which we should keep in mind, that earned value management system is not about delivering value to the end customer. The term value we use is primarily associated with the amount of budget has been allocated to a given project. So the measurement, how well we are doing in project, is primarily done against the budget. A lot of time I find people getting confused when they feel value is directly associated with what they are getting from their end customer. Now, if you are managing your project well, if you are doing your performance indexes are showing positive trend, definitely there is a high probability that you will make a good profit. But it's not always true. It's not necessary to be always true. It may happen that project is already in loss, but since you are managing your project as per the given budget, your EVM measurement may show the green picture. Now, the basic concept of EVM is whatever we do in the project will earn some value when the work get completed. So if I am conducting a project progress review meeting, if I am delivering some deliverable, all the tasks, all the work packages in my project plan, when they complete, they deliver some value. And we can look at that we earn some value by doing the scheduled work. Now, the progress made or the work done in a given project is measured in the terms of dollars. So we don't talk about that this particular milestone is completed. We are 10 days ahead from our scheduled baseline date, etc., etc. In EVM, we use money as a single measurement. for even measuring the progress which is related to work completion. So all physical progress is measured in the terms of dollars. It determines the project performance. Like the EVM has tools: schedule variance, cost variance, schedule performance index, cost performance index, which talks about where do we stand. They gives us project performance indicator. And EVM also helps us in predicting the future performance. We have terms or calculations like estimate at completion, to complete performance index. So such kind of performance tools or calculations helps us in predicting the future trend of our project. So if I summarize this slide, whatever we do in project earns money, and whatever we do, we measure it in terms of money. And EVM system also helps us in knowing where do we stand and what it will take in order to finish the project. So there are three terms which keeps moving in earned value management, called planned value, actual cost, and earned value. So planned value can be looked as planning. So if we have three tasks, for example, if I'm showing that I am running a marketing campaign for a car company, for an airline company, for a cycle company, and I have planned that in my project this marketing will take, the car campaign would be over in $100, the airline campaign would be over in $150, and the cycle company campaign would be over in $200. So this planning is my planned value. The budget I prepare for all these campaigns is my PV. So if I sum together, since it's a one project, my 450 for this particular project will become the planned value. Now, when we do the actual work, so we start with the planning and then we get into execution. It may happen at the end of 3 months where we expected that these three activities would be over. We find out that only car and airline campaign is over, and it has costed us at the place of $100, the car campaign has costed at $125, and airline campaign has costed at $145. So the actual cost would be the sum total of these two numbers, whatever it comes to. Now, when we talk about what is earned value in this particular project, the earned value is take the actual work. So actual work is done for car and airline, and the money value of that work should be taken from the budget. So EV is what work I have done and what was the budgeted cost of the completed work. The budgeted cost of completed work is called earned value. So it is like we are giving a credit of a completed work on the basis of initially planned budget rate. So we will get further in detail of all these three terms. So if you look at the definition from PMBOK, planned value, the authorized budget assigned to a scheduled work. Make simple. Actual cost, the realized cost incurred for the work performed on an activity during a specific time period. 3 months. We did execution of 2 campaigns. That is the work, that is an actual cost. We pick the real number. Earned value, the measure of a work performed are expressed in terms of the budget authorized for the project for the work. So we pick the work from the actual work, we pick the budgeted cost or a value of that work from the planning activities, and we term them as an earned value. So if you get into the details of planned value, how do we get planned value? How do we calculate planned value? You might have gone, like most of you are familiar with PMBOK and project management content. We start with say project charter, then we get into project management plan, and inside project management plan we do many things, and creating scope statement, creating work breakdown structure, creating activities are part of our project management plan. We estimate duration for them, we develop schedule on the basis of activities, and we estimate cost. The sum total of those estimated cost is your planned value. Now this can be done at an activity level. Sometimes it can be done at work package or a work breakdown structure level. If you look at the components which are part of EVM is the work package level cost estimation. It could be coming as an aggregation of activity level cost. There could be a planning package level cost aggregation. So difference between work package and planning package is work package is expected to be get executed in activity. Planning package is something we will plan at a later point of time. It may happen that the work planning package may directly get converted into work package when we progressively elaborate it. This can be further grouped under control account, and we may have some summary level planning budget at a control account level. Now we have been learning about contingency reserves, which we keep at the project level. So at a project level, we may have an undistributed budget. So the EVM is something which we baseline, which is part of the aggregated budget and contingency reserve. So the performance measurement baselines is a sum total of distributed budget. When we talk about a term distributed budget, it means it is already allocated to a work packages or activities or planning packages. And undistributed budget is contingency reserve, something which has kept at the end, which is not directly allocated to the project activities. The sum total of these two makes performance measurement baseline. At the top of this, you may have management reserve also, which is not with the project manager, which is not part of your project management measurement baseline, but it is part of the organization level project budget. So that is something about two reserves. So these components, the distributed budget and undistributed budget, makes your project performance baselines, makes your planned values. Sometimes when we look at the PMBOK, we always see the S-curve. And we don't see the undistributed budget separately. So in a mail, I got one query that how do we really handle the undistributed budget? Is it something that we always have a distributed budget in our project? Should we show it at the top? The concept is, if you really have an undistributed budget, you show it separately at the end. And this may not remain like this always. As you start progressively elaborating your project at a later point of time, as risk will occur, you may allocate this undistributed budget to your planned work packages or your planned activities. So this all is your planned value. This all is your performance measurement baseline. It may be elaborated at detail level for the initial project. It could be at a summary level for the activities which are coming at the later stage. So we have a project, just an example project. So we want to create 1,000 units. So whatever units they are, you can think of installation units or creation units. And we have estimated that this project per unit cost of doing this work would be $10. And we are planning to do it at the range of initial 2 months. We want to do 10-10 because we are going slow, initial startup time. And after that, we will do 20 units per month. So it is coming like we are doing 10-10, so 10 multiplied by 10 units per $10 per unit. So the initial budget for first 2 months is $100 and $100, and after that we would be spending $200 per month. So if we sum total it, if you look at the cumulative number for it, it comes to like 100, 200, 400, 600, 800, and finally we are expecting that $1,000 will be spent in this particular project. So why are we talking about all this? Because this all is planned value. This is all pure planning. We have not yet started execution. Now, if we create a graph for it, it will show the time-based distribution or accumulation of planned value. Usually we see this in the form of S-curve. So I got another question, that is it always necessary to have S-curve in your project? The reality is it's not necessary. Usually, as most of the project PMBOK talks about, typically we see more activities during execution phase and less activity during closing phases and initiation phases. That's why the curve become S. But if you're following a project management approach where your activity rigor is not typical activity rigor which was displayed in PMBOK, you may have a linear curve in your earned value analysis. So this line I have created on the basis of my project, which I have just shared with you, where we are spending $100 at the initial months, and after that we are spending $200 per month, and at the end of 6 months we are finishing the work of $1,000, and the unit work is 100. So we have $10 per unit planned. So before I go forward, I have a poll. Now in this poll I am talking about, I am asked that where do we do all this? Where do we calculate the plant value? So most of you are familiar with PMBOK. Now in PMBOK, in which process we prepare plant value? Which process gives us the baseline thing? So just pick up anything, like if you are not sure of, just make the guess. Okay, so we have nearby 80% already voted. So I am just closing the poll, and some of you are voting in the chat box, which is also good. Okay, so I close the poll and I share it with you. So majority is talking about estimate cost, and the second goes to determine budget. What should be the right answer? It's about determine budget. Reason being, in estimate cost, we do activity level cost estimation, but since we are calculating the plant value and BAC, the end of it, it requires an aggregation. It also requires taking contingency reserve in account. So the performance baselines are prepared. We can say PV leading to BAC gets prepared in determined budget, which is like an aggregation of what you have done in estimate cost. Plan cost management is just about planning that how are we going to manage, calculate cost. It is not about preparing budget. So I got one question here. So we can, if you have any question on the slides which are already covered, please post them. So I got one question, that is, does it mean that plant value is equals to budget at completion? Now we can look at the last accumulated plant value is equal to BAC. Now there could be a slight difference. If you have undistributed budget, you can think of plant value plus undistributed budget equal to budget at completion. So plant value goes month by month, and budget at completion is a term which is for the total. So sum total of plant value plus undistributed budget, if you have any, gives you budget at completion. Okay, so another question, which is an interesting one, is that is earned value management, is the EVM earned value management depends on SDLC like agile, waterfall, model, etc., etc. The project life cycle does impact your PV curve. Now, as far as pure project management is concerned, we talk about whenever you have planned your activities and the aggregated sum total of the cost of those planned activities is your plan value, is your budget at completion. So irrespective of project management life cycle model you use. But yes, the shape of a curve would be different. If you are doing waterfall, you will see S curve in your plan value. If you are doing agile, you will have a linear curve. You expect the same value coming out iteration on iteration. So you have pure linear curve. So that much difference can be expected till PV level. Others, like how does it impact to earned value, how does it impact to our actual cost, we can talk about that. So follow-up questions, and I was expecting, because undistributed budget is something which is not spoken well in PMBOK. So the question is, what is this undistributed budget is all about? So it is like you have 5 activities in your project, and each activity is costing you $100. Now you have kept $50 as a buffer. So when you prepare, so the $50 of a buffer is undistributed budget, which is not given to any activity. If you see any cost, if you see anything coming up, then only you distribute it. So undistributed budget is contingency reserve or something which is not yet distributed to activities, but it is part of your project. It is part of your project measurement baselines. Follow-up questions, how it is linear in Agile. So in Agile, we expect that we would be spending $100 per month. Example. So since sprints are expected to be of the same size, sprints are expected to be of the fixed team composition. So you will find that we will spending a linear amount of money per month. That's why if your life cycle is spending same amount of money per month, it becomes linear. If your life cycle is only involving 3 people for 2 months where they are doing requirement analysis, then you are adding 20 developers, then you are releasing developers, only keeping testers, it becomes different. Okay, so so it all depends. So if you are doing, it becomes linear. If you are not doing a same sprint size each month on, it will be not linear. It depends. Usually, it is expected the Agile team will do that. If they are not an issue. We can summarize that planned value is just an aggregated sum of month and month expected money out from your project. So undistributed budget, contingency risks are part of undistributed budget. If you are talking about mitigation related, so the question is the risk value is part of undistributed budget? It depends upon which type of risk response strategy you are using. For contingency, the answer is yes. If you are talking about mitigation, if you are talking about avoid activities, they are planned in the activity itself. Okay, so difference between project budget and cost baseline. So we can have it is something like the project budget is a total sum of money allocated to the project team and some money which is kept by the management or by the portfolio group along with them. So if you talk at an organization level, when you talk about project budget, it includes what money has been allocated to the project, which is part of project measurement baseline, plus some reserves which has kept that if something goes, if unknown happens, which cannot be projected at this particular point of time, that becomes part of management reserve, and that is included on the top of cost baseline when we talk about project budget. Okay, so let's move forward and talk about actual cost, and then we will see how it. Now, once done with the planning, now it's time to do the real work. Now, this is the simplest thing. If you talk about EVM calculation point of view, it is like actual cost, whatever we are spending. So whatever we are spending while doing the activities is actual cost, the money going out from your pocket. So it is something the realized actual cost per activity, and the sum total in a project duration whenever we are monitoring is your actual cost. So let's look back at our project example. Now in our project example, we are thinking that we are done with 3 months of execution, month 1, month 2 and month 3, and we spent $100 in month 1 and did 5 units at the where we planned to do 10 units and spend $100, but in reality we did 5 and we spent 100. In month 2 we did 10 and we spent 250, and in the third month we did 15 and we spent 150. Kind of we were back in the project rate. So if I just sum it all these 3, it comes to 500, and that's my actual cost if I am measuring my performance at the end of 3 months. So cumulative actual cost at any point of time when we are checking the project performance is something which the money we have spent. So in a EVM graphs, we plot them. So we start with the planned value. So first line, which we usually see in the form of S curve, again it depends upon how you are spending money, is your planned value. And when you plot a line which shows the outflow of money month on month, it gives you an actual cost. So in our case, at a month 3, we are touching 500. So we have spent $100 more than the initially planned. So before we move forward, and this poll is asking about in which PMP process or a PMBOK process from where we get actual cost. Which process gives us the actual cost? Is it estimate budget, estimate cost, control cost, direct and manage project work, monitor and control project work? From where do we get actual cost? This is simple, I guess. Let's see where the audience are taking us. Okay, a few more. Please select your option. I'm closing the poll. Quickly pick your option. Okay, so I'm closing here and I am sharing with you. So do you agree with the majority? The answer, I think I am not, it is wrong. The direct and managed project work is expected to give you actual cost. Now, since you are preparing for PMP, you can relate it that actual cost is all about what? The actual cost is all about work performance data. It is not about work performance information. It is about what I did, what I spent. That's it. So the direct and managed project work is the only executing process which tells us that the cost of activities which are performed as per the project management plan. So why I have put all these posts? Usually when we read EVM, we only focus on calculations. We only focus on how do we calculate variance, how do we memorize formula. But it's an interesting to visualize what is happening behind. It's an interesting concept. It's a simple concept. Actual cost is coming just when we pick money. Now there is another cost which is earned value. I have not created poll for it, but let's see. Let's talk about earned value and then we will see. Now I got one question that why not it is monitoring and control project work. See, monitoring and control project work is something thinking about what was the variance, what can be done to do or control that particular variance. When we're talking about actual cost, we are not worried about variance. We are just saying that I am done with activity A and I have spent $100. That's it. Actual cost mean that much only. If more discussion is required, we can do it in our forum. I can share the PMBOK references also. Okay, so let's move. The third term is earned value. So back to our example, we had something in mind when we planned it. We did some execution. Now we need to look back the completed work's budgeted value, and earned value is about that only. So how do we calculate earned value? The first thing we need to look for while we do an earned value is determine the work completed. What amount of work has been completed? Now take the budgeted value of work completed, and that is how we sum total it and calculate it. I think there are some issues in this particular slide, numbering. So let's back to our project management example. We had plan. We are measuring the performance at the end of 3 months. So our plan value was coming, the cumulative plan value was coming to $400. We were thinking of spending 100 initially. And at the end, in the third month, we were thinking of spending 200. The total was expected to be 400. Actually, we have spent, just a sec. Actually, we have spent 100 in the first month, 250 in the second month, and 150 at the third month, and the total money we spent was $500. Now, when I am calculating earned value, I am picking what work has been completed. So actual work I am picking here, and I am thinking what was the budgeted value, budgeted cost of this work. So we have budgeted that one item will take $10. So the budgeted cost of finishing 5 units was 50. Similarly, in the next month, we did 10 units. The cost of finishing 10 units was expected to be 100. So cumulative earned value at the end of second month was 150. Going forward, we did 15 units in the third month, and cumulative earned value at the end of third month was is 300 US dollar. At the end of third month, now we know that our planned value was 400, because this we know from the day one. We started with it. As we were doing the work, we got it 500 as a cumulative cost, the money which went out from the project. And now we did calculation. Where do we all do all this calculation? We do this calculation in control costs. So in a control costs process, we look back and try to identify the variances, try to identify how we are performing as per our budget, and we calculated that our earned value is 300 US dollar. Now you might have seen this curve again and again, and it is the third line which is getting added. So initially we only spoke about planning, then we spoke about the money going out, and the third line is representing what we got out of it. So this get calculated at the end of third month by identifying the amount of work completed and the budgeted value of each work item. Now it looks too simple, like that it can be just, we can pick the units and we can multiply by the rate, and it's easy to calculate earned value. But it is not. The reality, the real project management is not as simple as the unit-based calculation. It is complicated. And the major issue comes while calculating earned value is, how do we know how much percentage or what particular work is complete? When do we mark the work complete? So this creates good amount of confusion, and this requires good amount of attention from a project manager while we follow earned value management system. If we get deeper into it, there are 3 types of project activities. In your PMBOK, you might have studied about these project activities in time management knowledge area. The time management knowledge area talks about that activities could be of type discrete effort, they could be of apportioned effort, and the third could be level of effort. Now what is discrete effort? So if you are doing software development, the amount of money, amount of time you are spending in developing product, real deliverable, is a discrete effort. So discrete effort is a direct effort, is producing the direct deliverable. Apportionate effort, the amount of time, money you are spending in verifying the deliverables completed by discrete effort. And level of effort is something which provides the baseline, like project management activities, which creates an environment in which discrete effort and apportionate effort can happen in and produce some output. In a discrete effort, primarily, how do we measure the progress of a discrete effort? We can have a measurement system which talks about fixed formula. So fixed formula is something like, if I start the activity, I will say 50% complete. And once the activity is over, I will say 100% complete. It could be like, I don't give any credit till the time activity is not completed. So we have a fixed rule. Say it could be a 25-100% rule, it could be a 0-100, it could be a 50-100. The another could be weighted milestones. So in the activities or at a work package level, we identify if design is baseline, we will say that 20% of work is completed. If this particular milestone under this work package or under this activity is completed, we will give a percentage, a weightage to that completion, and that would be used while calculating earned value. Percentage completion is the simplest one, which we keep using. Like if we put in percentage completion to each and every activities, on the basis of that percentage completion, we will calculate the earned value of that particular activity. The fourth one, which is the most simple one but difficult to implement many times, is a physical measurement, like the one we have been using, that we have to finish 10 units. If you are done with 5 units, I will say that 50% of the value has been earned. So discrete effort, we can use one of these measurement criteria while we calculate the completion of a discrete effort activity. Apportioned effort activity should be calculated. The completion of apportioned effort should be calculated on the basis of percentage of discrete effort. Like it can happen that one activity, one deliverable you have coded, but you and the tester has done all the testing, but the coding is not yet 100% complete. But tester might have finished the allocated time for that particular activity. Should we give the complete earned value to a testing activity? It should not be. So if the core work is not over, the apportionate effort cannot be over. So it should be related to a discrete effort. The third one is level of effort, and this gives a great freedom or a great risk of misinterpretation. Now, since we spoke about each activity earns value, so even if you are doing project management meeting, you are earning value. And the level of effort type of activities can be misused while we really calculate the EVM or earned value in our project. So it is recommended to follow a defined criteria, rules for calculating the value of level of effort. Level of effort has no variance. Like for example, if you did a project management meeting, you can't measure it that did we get the deliverable out of it. If you have done it, you get the complete credit of that particular activity, since that activity is complete. So when we are getting into EVM system, we need to have a clear rule that how are we going to measure the progress, or how are we going to calculate the earned value of activities in our project. And this is how the practice guide of EVM summarizes it, that EVM also gets linked with the planning process and also gets linked with the executing and monitoring control process. In a planning process, first we create a budget and finally we also talk about that we also determine what measurement methods we are going to use while we will calculate EV or earned value for a given activities. And while we are doing executing and monitoring, we will keep looking at our actual cost and earned value. So this is a Q&A time. So we are finishing first segment. The indexes we will take next. So if you have any query till time, we can talk about them. And where do we calculate EV? In which process we calculate earned value? So I have not created poll for it. You can, whoever wants to answer it can give me his view or her view in chat box. So one thing is clear, it has to be a monitoring and control thing, because it is not the direct thing, but it has to be coming. So usually we do in control cost. Control costs is the process where we calculate earned value for the project. So let me look at some of the queries. So Guru, I missed your point for which you were asking. Can you explain one more time? So if you can repeat the point, I will try to address it since I went into the presentation that point of time. Okay, so Ashish is asking about that where do we calculate PV, EV, AC, etc. in agile projects. In agile projects, the earned value get calculated at the end of every iteration, and the actual cost is also usually measured at the end of every iteration / sprint. The planned value or budgeted completion is done at the release level, and it's a favorite PMI ACP question. So usually you get this question in PMI ACP, that at what level we create budgeted completion, at what level we calculate the PV graph. So you can answer it at a release level, and EV, AC, etc. gets calculated at a sprint level. Okay, so let's take a few more queries. Now, I got one query that do we have tools for calculating EV? There are a lot of tools. So all PM tools, be it Microsoft Project, Primavera, they provide this feature. You just need to feed this planned value and actual cost to them. You need to tell that if you are good with percentage completion, they can directly calculate EV for you. So see, the calculation is fairly simple. The real crux is how to identify the earning of each and every activities. There is a gray area, so we need to be very clear while we determine the measurement process, and we also need to be very clear when we implement them. So most of the project management scheduling tools provide this feature to you. They can provide you EV related reports. So one more query related to EV has come, that can I speak about EV again? And another query is that can we take a partially completed work in EV? Now this is all about determining the measurement rules. If we follow, say, percentage completion method, we can even give a credit for percentage completion partially finished activity. If we follow, say, unit wise completion rate, then we don't give credit for partially completed activities. If we follow fixed formula, then we don't talk about completion. We only talk about if activity started, give it a credit of X percentage, usually 50%. So starting is 50%, ending is 100%. So that is how we can define that how are we going to calculate the earning per activities. This should be defined in our cost management plan, which becomes a part of your project management plan, and then we follow it throughout the project. Usually when you do a government-based project or in your project management system, or your PMO would be guiding you for an organization which particular method is recommended. So whatever is right for your organization or recommended by your organization, you have to use it. So how do we calculate EV? If I talk again, the magic of calculating EV is identifying how much work is completed, first thing, and what was the budgeted value of that work. So I was expected to finish, say, in this particular case 40 unit by the end of month 3, but I only did 30. Now I was expected to do 40 unit by consuming $10 per unit. So my planned value becomes 400. Actually, I spent $500, but I only did 30 units. Now, when I'm calculating earned value, I will ask, how many units you completed? I say 30. Then I forget. I don't tell me that EV will say, don't tell me what you have spent. Only tell me what should have been spent for these 30 units. What was your planned budget? You says, okay, I was expected to spend $10 per unit, so I was expected to spend $300 for it. So that becomes your earned value. Having said that, I have simplified it. In project, it can be on the basis of percentage completion, or there could be some criteria which defines what amount of work is done and what is pending. So the question, follow-up question coming is planned value units are different per units, etc., etc. Then do we calculate EV also in the same way? EV should be calculated in the same way as planned value. So if you have planned 5 units at a $10, 5 units at a $20, while you are calculating EV, you also should take the same rate. So it is something like whatever you have planned, as per plan, what you earned. Simple. Now another question I got is that in which type of industry this can be used, what size of project. Now usually we don't find EVM implementation in mid-size projects, but many projects or many governance, especially when you do some government related project, you end up calculating EVM reports because they are mandated by the governance body. So if you end up doing projects in that environment, you use them EVM very frequently. In general, especially for software type of environments where things keeps changing very fast and identifying the percentage completion remains a gray area, we don't see that wide adoption of EVM. But as far as theoretically concerns, you can track any project. It is all about tracking the progress by converting the finished work in money and use the rate which you have plant. Okay, good to go.